The speakers are working, yeah.
Yeah. So that just picked up what you said, so I have transcription there.
Perfect, okay. So this can just, I think this can remain up here.
Yeah.
It should pick up speakers, so.
You just can't.
Just do that adjust.
Should I?
5-6.
That's fine. I think if we could have somebody speak into their microphone.
Sheriff, may you just, like say test 1, 2, 3 in there?
Did that show up? Or
Okay,
voice
very
it?
good.
Oh, sorry, maybe one more time.
Do it again. We did, we just adjourned, we recessed because we're having technical difficulties with the online streaming, so we're setting up an iPad.
So you haven't made any decisions?
No, not at all. We're on the proclamation for Martin Luther King Day. Yep. Did that kind of pick it? I know we have background noise too. I think it'll pick up.
Not us right here. I don't know if she can hear.
I think it will though. Eventually, because there's so much background. This is picking up what's closest to it. What do you think?
Picking up, like, there's some subtitles, but I can hear because of them. Okay, so we can keep it after silence and then have strips.
Okay, so Chair, if you can ask for silence from boardroom, and then that way we just want to make sure the sound is working and picking up, so we just gotta have everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Can we call for some silence for a moment? We're just trying to test our audio. Thank you for your patience. Test. Testing currently, testing.
Can we try like disconnecting from this? Because that might be the problem.
You think so?
It could be.
Yes. I'll just turn it off so that way it'll.
Okay. One more time.
Testing. Testing for audio. 1, 2. Testing.
No. I don't know, besides like putting it.
That's why I think this thing, how is it getting transcription if it's not picking up?
It's picking it up through Zoom, like from us speaking right here. So we can see the transcription on there. We just can't, it's not pulling in any audio. Maybe. It only shows us and public input. Well, we have to be unmuted at the moment. Yeah.
So.
Yes, yeah. You can hear us coming through the stream?
What about doing your mic? Can you do test on your mic?
Okay, we're good then.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know, I mean, do you want to mess with it?
I feel like this mic, I mean, because it's very like tunnel. It's like a garbage can. So
Yeah.
this would be better.
You can turn it back on.
Okay.
So it's just my computer that's not.
I think.
Get them out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is working, so I mean, I could hear it here. Yeah, I mean, I can hear it.
One,
Okay, Chair, could you just do one?
testing. Testing audio.
Yeah, I can hear it. I can hear that my computer. It's going through.
Yeah, it's not picking it up. I hear you. I don't hear.
Oh, I heard yours. Yeah. Here, I'll go back.
I heard it now. It's
You heard it?
very, very delayed. That's the issue.
Okay, very good. Okay, we're all set.
Okay.
Okay,
I was like, I know.
all right. We will return to session. Thank you to commissioners and the public as we work out technical issues, make sure the public can view and interact with our deliberations this evening. We have adopted our regular meeting schedule. We're going to move to item 7, proclamations. I have a commissioner who will read the proclamation honoring Martin Luther King Day into the record. Commissioner Zulu, thank you.
Whereas Dr. King was a champion of civil rights movement to protect the human rights of Black Americans, promote economic justice for all. And whereas Dr. King created positive, systematic change, nonviolent resistance, marches, and civil disobedience to further the right to vote, desegregation, labor rights, and other civil rights. And whereas Dr. King shared a dream in 1963 that inspired our nation to bring justice where there was injustice, freedom where there was oppression, peace where there is violence, opportunity wherever there is poverty, and that our children be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And whereas Dr. King was willing to suffer physical and verbal abuse, laid down his own life solely for the purpose of eliminating social injustice through nonviolence, and whereas Dr. King demonstrated that social reform can be accomplished with the expression of mutual respect, words of societal peace, and an understanding of love for all mankind. And whereas Congress has dedicated the third Monday in January a federal holiday in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. And whereas the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners believes that, in keeping with the dream from Dr. King, that the individual strengths should be promoted and systematic barriers that exist should be dismantled. And now therefore be proclaimed, Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners, in recognition of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., encourages all people to work to fulfill this dream to create the beloved community in which all people have the opportunity to live into their full potential.
Thank you. That proclamation is made by Commissioner Jalou, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Let's move to item 8, communications. We're in receipt of item 2025-1653, early childhood funding in Kalamazoo County. We have a letter of support from Representative Matt Longjohn. And to the same topic, item 1654, a letter from the Michigan League for Public Policy, also in support of early childhood funding. We'll go to item 9, approval of our minutes. Item 2025-1684, request for approval of the December 16th draft committee of the whole and regular meeting minutes.
Move.
Motion is made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approval signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. We'll go now to item 10, approval of the agenda.
Chair, I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Now we come to item 11. This is our first opportunity for public comment. Public comment can be made in person or by phone by calling 855-925-2801 and entering meeting code 10748. And then press *3 to join the queue. If you wish to speak during both of our public comment periods, you must press *3 again at any time after the first public comment has ended. This is our first opportunity to address the board for up to 3 minutes in a professional and respectful manner on any topic. Once you're recognized, please share your name and where you're from. Do we have anyone wishing to join us for public comment? Please come join us. On your mic stand, you'll see a button with a person on it. If you push that, it will turn your mic on. There it is. Welcome.
Hi, my name's Aaron Thiel. I'm a resident of Kalamazoo County. I would like to ask the county commission and all its new leadership to formally denounce working with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency in this upcoming year. They've been using a lot of other cities as staging grounds for their operations and counties as their operations, and I really don't want my tax dollars double dipped. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
No, come up, come on.
Oh,
But I'm gonna cover up your shirt. It goes to the issue of the corn.
oh, okay.
So please speak your mind.
I feel like I'm wearing a bib, but okay.
Welcome to you. Thank you.
Yeah, we said. Hi, my name is Shona Espinoza. So, it's kind of hard for me to come to these county commission meetings because I have mad respect for Tammy, Monteith, and Jen. I've been rocking with y'all for almost 6 years now. But it has came to my attention that there's some money that is going to be given to an individual that shouldn't be receiving that money. I've seen the harm that she has caused. I've seen the misuse of funds. I've seen there's no reason that an individual should receive funds that is not addressing or doing what is needed. There is Gwendolyn Hooker, who is sitting here, Navigation of Hope. We've seen the houses that she got out here. We've seen the Sugar Loaf. That is where money should go, to those that are actually producing houses that are unhoused, or those that are in need, our most vulnerable population. That's where the money should be going. There's so many of us that are out here actually doing the work, and we do not want to see money being placed where it shouldn't be, especially if they're misusing the funds or they're causing harm to our unhoused. That's not okay. And then even the $100 million for a building, can you just imagine what we could be doing with that money for our unhoused, those that are on the brink of being unhoused? I know I am. My dad is a vet. I lost my mom over a year ago. That's money that people could really be using out here. My dad is a vet. My dad should not be in a position to almost losing his house. Look how many vets we have out on the street. Children, babies, senior citizens. I'm asking y'all, please don't put money where it shouldn't go. Use it for some real good housing, cheaper rent, helping our babies, helping our families, helping our vets, helping our disabled and those that need mental health. Please take that in consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to you.
Should we introduce myself first?
Yes, please, your name and where you're from.
Okay, and do I need to hit any buttons here, or are we good? We are good. Hi, I'm Dusty Morton. I live in Portage. Tonight, there's an agenda item regarding emergency winter shelter. Thank you for considering that. Our current unhoused population in Kalamazoo is the highest it's been since 2011. So far this winter, 3 groups have received money from the city to help provide shelter. One, Kalamazoo Together for the Unhoused, received roughly $227,000 to support a 4-month project called Hope and Health. It's geared towards providing hotel rooms for medically fragile, unhoused people and coordinating medical care for them. It's unclear how many people have been helped, if people are staying short-term or for 4 months, if volunteers are staying in these city-paid rooms, or how people have enrolled in the project. It's unclear if the funds are paying strictly for the rooms, for the medical care, or for the stipends being paid to some of the volunteers. This information has not been shared publicly. What is known is that there's an ongoing meal train coordinating daily meals for 17 people. So at best, 17 people are receiving this daily help. Because of this initiative, Kalamazoo Together for the Unhoused was unable to organize and fundraise for the annual Heads in Beds program that provides hotel rooms for 100 people for a week around Christmas. This means roughly 83 people, maybe more, have gone without temporary shelter because of the current project. It's unclear if the current consideration to invest more money into this group would go to expanding the medical care project, or if it would go towards a short-term Heads in Beds effort. There's no demonstrated ability for the group to run 2 separate projects. The public doesn't get a vote on who gets those funds. But if the intent is to provide shelter, the funds need to go to one of the established brick and mortar shelters in town that have demonstrated they can make a real, immediate, and publicly transparent impact on this crisis. And separate funds should be set aside to support Western Michigan's street medicine to help them provide expanded medical care to our unhoused community. My understanding is that they are the ones currently providing medical care for Hope and Health. If you want to invest in a hotel project, focus on getting a landing place open, which will offer 80 beds and should have opened 6 months ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to make public comment? All right, I'm seeing none. Administrator, do we have anyone online?
None this evening, Chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Administrator. That time we will close public comment. We're going to move to item 12, our consent agenda items. Item 2025-1284, recommendation for approval of accounts payable and payroll disbursements. Entertain a motion. Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chair. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
There's a motion by Vice Chair Pro Tem, supported by Commissioner Wheeler for the approval of the consent agenda. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Chair Stretz,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales, Commissioner Ray.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. Item 13 takes us to unfinished business and general orders. We have none. And item 14 will come to new business, non-consent. I'll open discussion on a motion for item 2025-1692, discussion for allocation for additional funding from the housing millage for emergency winter solutions. So I'm going to sort of help to orient our board. This item is coming here this evening. It would not be a typical part of our organizational meeting annually, but we understand that the needs, as we're hearing from the community and seeing them in lived experience, are urgent in the community. So Commissioner Ray and I, among others, but recently we were on the Housing Allocations Committee. We had robust dialogue there on a number of options that we could use housing millage funds for. We knew that we would have philanthropic support coming forward, our Keys to Kalamazoo, which has helped to fund shelter coordination programming. And so this left this $100,000 that we discussed at the committee level, not needed for that purpose, and can be redirected here for emergency shelter. Do want to clarify a few things I think are confusing for the community. So the emergency sheltering that's occurred through Dignity in Motion or Kalamazoo Together for the Unhoused, through Ministry with Community and HRI, are funded by the County of Kalamazoo, the City of Kalamazoo, and the Continuum of Care. $700,000 in total for that programming. What our body did, we made an allocation of $400,000 to that effort, and we sent that to the Continuum of Care for review and discussion of RFP process, which culminated in the awards that have been discussed this evening. I do also want to clarify as well, the Home and Health project that is occurring within the community was not the proposal put forward by Dignity in Motion. They wanted to do a traditional heads in beds program. The COC went back to them and asked if they instead, would consider this targeted shelter for medically frail individuals. It was not their design, but a request from the Continuum of Care that brought that project forward. And there is ongoing collaboration with them, WMed, and oversight from the COC and our contracting requirements with both the city and county over each of these programs. So back to the allocations committee, what we heard there when we were talking about shelter coordination is that HRI is receiving a number of calls every night of people unable to find shelter. And that is not a surprise to us. We know there have been changes in how long-term programming has been structured in the community. We're doing our best to mitigate that. The landing place is an ongoing effort in construction remediation, and we're working through those barriers as quickly as possible. It will provide more than 80 beds. It will serve 80 families. So the total census will be unclear, but they'll be opened in a phased approach. So, but please know, community, we're being as forthright and expeditious as possible in that process. Okay, so that's just some background to clarify a few things for the community. So what's in front of us tonight? We have three options, okay? The $100,000 that we know we have available from the housing millage, we could send it back to the COC for discussion as we did with our initial allocation. The timeline for utilizing that process and getting it out the door is unclear. It is not likely to be particularly quick, okay? There have been some outreach back to some of the organizations which had received funding about what capacity they did or did not have. And that still is not clear and would need to be both identified and contracted and funded, okay? The second option that we have before us was pursued by county housing department staff. They reached out to the Kalamazoo Gospel Mission. The Gospel Mission reduced the census, citing both programming and staff ratio concerns at the time. And they reduced the number of folks that they were housing in emergency shelter overnight. They have indicated that with the support of $135,000, that they could increase their capacity just during this winter period, so not in an ongoing way, up to 60 additional beds. 40 of those would be for single men, 20 of them for single women. Wouldn't create any additional family sheltering options. There are some pros and cons with Kalamazoo Gospel Mission. It's a good setting for folks that fit there, but they are not a program that is wanted or very accessible to everyone. Families, for example, people who prefer not to be religiously affiliated, and there are some constraints on how they contract because it is a religiously based organization. So that places some limitations and some downsides to how they perform certain components of service. But they do very important work and have a history of that. The third option, we received a proposal called a Snapshot of Hope. You have a packet in front of you. It says Hope Through Navigation. Just to clarify, Hope did run a hotel sheltering program similar to what we've referred to as Heads in Beds but this was back prior to that at Baymont. So they've done emergency sheltering in the past. And so we've just received this packet at the beginning of this meeting. So if I may, Ms. Gwendolyn, I'd entertain Gwendolyn to come forward and just to elaborate a bit on the proposal she's provided to us to consider, if that's all right. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Gwendolyn Hooker, Hope Through Navigation, Chair Strebs, Vice Chair Taylor, and Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, and all of you commissioners. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here this evening. Happy New Year and congratulations to everyone. It's not actually a proposal per se. It is the grant. I think maybe the administrator may have the full actual packet. Okay, Chair Strebs has the full actual packet that was submitted to the COC for consideration. At that time, we were not funded. And so there was conversations about going back and looking at people that had applied. And there was only 4 people that actually applied for that funding, and 3 of them were funded. Hope Through Navigation was not. Kalamazoo Gospel Mission never applied to the RFP. My request would be to consider Hope Through Navigation to do a temporary sheltering program for families. We have 3 homes. One home is very new. We just had a just had an open house maybe 3 weeks ago. It was intended for something else. And that is our intent, to do something else with that house, with that home. But because there was a winter sheltering proposal that came out, we looked at that to say that because that house was already up and running, it could be utilized for family sheltering, which next door to it is a youth home that also could be used for family sheltering. So we're looking at 2 homes that are next to each other that could be utilized for family sheltering. And so that is kind of a very high level explanation. If there's folks that have specific questions, I'm happy to answer any questions, but I did want to just note that we are experienced in sheltering. We have done emergency sheltering up to 125 people every day with the Housing First model, and we ran a small city for 5 months. We also have several transitional housing models, reentry programs for men and for women. So it's not something that's uncommon for us. What's uncommon is that we specifically target populations of folks that are justice impacted and or have a history of substance use disorder history. That is the population that Hope Through Navigation serves. In an emergency situation, we have come to the call and rescue a lot of times to aid and assist this county in whatever capacity that we were able to serve, whether it was opioid pop-ups, whether it was gun violence intervention, and now here we are again with the Winter Shelter initiative that, crazy enough, comes every year, which is also very frustrating because we've spent millions and millions of dollars on alternative solutions as opposed to actually building another secular shelter for this very reason, because we know winter in Michigan is going to come every year just about the same time. So that is what I am able, that is what we are able to do. We have 5 full-time staff. We have 9 part-time staff. We have the staffing already in place. We have those houses are already, for the most part, staffed, besides the overnight sheltering, which we would have to hire or use one of our staffs that we already have to do the overnighting thing. But it's not that heavy of a lift. However, we don't have the capacity to serve a large number of people, like 60 individual men and 40 women. But we are able to provide individualized supportive services and wraparound services and supports, which Hope Through Navigation is known for. And we are able to do that in pretty quick fashion. The only thing that we would need is more beds. And that would be pretty much the only thing that would be a delay. I don't know if there's any other questions. I just kind of feel like I'm kind of talking around in circles, so I'm gonna stop talking and see if there's any questions.
I'm gonna, go to Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for coming forward and presenting this to us. How many beds do you think you have or could have in your facilities to accommodate winter storm people that need to pop in? Thank you.
Absolutely. Great question. So in the new home, we could serve 12 people or families, however that shook out. We really are wanting to concentrate on families because there's no one in Kalamazoo County right now that's doing emergency sheltering for families. And then in the other home, which is next door, it's bigger, and we could probably do at least 18. Preferably, we said 24 because it's better, you know, as far as staff to ratio and people wouldn't be so cramped and crash, you know, kind of like crammed into each other. So I would say 12 and 12 to be safe. If it's an emergency situation and it's a family, you know, we're not gonna turn people away. And we have been servicing families and young adults since we've been open, since 2022 with the Youth and Development Center. So it's not something that's unknown, but it is really typically in emergency situations, like someone's home has been shot up, someone overdosed and they don't want to go back to the original last use setting. Those are the kinds of things that we have done to this point. But we are in a position to provide, you know, temporary emergency shelter for that amount of months from from November to March or April.
Vice Chair.
First, thank you for showing up and answering the questions. The smaller home would probably do 1 or 2 families, and the larger home would be 2 or 3 families. So you'd have roughly, it would be family centric.
It definitely, that's the ideal. It would be, we have really pretty nice size homes, so we could do 3 families in one house, and we could do 4 to 5 families in the other home. They're older historic homes, so they're very large homes and very big rooms. I would welcome and invite any of y'all to come out and look at any of the houses, do a walkthrough. You're more than welcome to at least see what we do. A lot with a little. That's kind of what we do, what we have to do to be able to house the population that we serve. And so we are willing to support and help any way that we can.
And do you know what would the cost of that be? Would it be the full 100,000?
That would be ideal, yes.
Well, I guess just the statement then, I think really we were presented with 2 options or 3 options. I think we have 2. We're giving the money back to Continuum of Care to rebid this out. It's just going to take way too long. And there's people in the community that need it. As far as I'm concerned, there's 2 options: a Kalamazoo Gospel Mission, which would provide more beds, but wouldn't be family centric, or a family centric with snapshots, snapshot of hope. Is that I've got snapshot of hope. I don't know why I wrote that down, but yeah, I think we've got those 2 options. One is more family centric, and seeing as how the landing place is not open yet, I think we should, I'm leaning towards putting it towards a family centric environment. I think that's probably the best move. We're going to get more beds out of the Gospel Mission, but we also run into potential problems as well. So that's my 2 cents.
Right. Ready to go?
Commissioner Gissler.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'd like to hear from our housing department.
Thank you, Commissioner Gissler. I'd entertain either Director Balkema or Deputy Administrator Smith. Thank you. So we appreciate Hope Through Navigation orienting us to their proposal. Deputy Administrator, if there are details to share on others or other context, that's helpful to the board to be informed.
We are just trying to discuss what additional information outside of what's already written in the brief and the recap that the chair has provided. I guess one thing of note is that we do know Ministry with Community, who Continuum of Care contracted with. We do know that they that contract was originally for 90 or 91 beds, I believe. I believe the last number we received is that they are consistently sheltering more than that. I don't have any further details on that, if that's out of goodwill, if they've received other funding or what that may be, but I know that they are consistently over 91 beds. I think we're seeing more within the hundreds.
I believe they shared they're hosting 160 people at night, because they made a commitment not to turn people away who show up at the door. So that's a tremendous lift from them.
It is, and to that point, I don't know if that is, as y'all are considering the options, I think all three options are definitely viable and clearly demonstrate we have a need here in the community. I think that if you are looking to maybe alleviate strain on one nonprofit who is currently doing sheltering, which may include singles and families, so meeting with ministry, that is an option to consider as y'all are deliberating. I think the point regarding the landing place is a valid point, and that there are needs for family sheltering as well. So I think that's kind of the additional insight that I can provide regarding the three options. I know the need is great regardless, and so I know it's a difficult decision in front of you.
I also was able to get the current numbers that are on the coordinated entry waiting list. So, and this is hot off the presses. So on the current waiting list, there are 857 total individuals and families. Out of that, there's 147 families that are currently unsheltered out of 293 total unsheltered people on that coordinated entry list.
Thank you. I just, I want the community and the commissioners to just hear the depth of that need in the community. I mean, that is a huge gap that we have. We are talking over $100,000 of funding here. That is not a sufficient amount. We're going to make a determination on what to do with these dollars, but I do challenge us to give serious consideration for what other resources can be deployed. We have hundreds of people calling a night begging for somewhere with warmth to be, and we can act on that. Commissioner Kistler.
Thanks again, Chair. Yeah, Willie, you mentioned numbers and you talked about 147 families. Do you mean 147 family units or 147 people in aggregate in families?
That's family unit.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ray.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with Vice Chair Taylor that we only have two options. I am not in favor of us sending funds to the Continuum here. And if we think about applications that were already submitted, there was one not funded. I think it's kind of a no-brainer for us to provide some housing for families. And then as far as the Kalamazoo Gospel mission, for me, it's a no. Their mission does not align with our values as far as equity, inclusion, and non-discrimination. So I just can't support sending funding there, although there is a critical need and they can provide 60 beds really fast. It's a no for me.
Commissioner Wheeler.
I'll just say I concur with Commissioner Ray.
Vice Chair.
Yeah, I'm leaning that way as well. My only hesitation is that's a lot of money for roughly seven families. I'm not sure they would use the full 100 if they didn't use any of it and it got rolled back. I guess probably I'd be comfortable with the Hope Through Navigation award, provided we get an update at the end of it and see how all those dollars were spent. If that was the case, then I'd be okay with that.
Commissioner Ray.
Thank you, Chair. To that point, are we, we should be getting a report from everybody. I would like to get some more updated information from all the projects. The information that Willa just shared was very important information as we continue to talk through solutions before March 31st. It's good to have that information and any other updates that can be provided. I think some of the questions that were asked during public comment time were really good questions. There's 14 rooms. Does that mean only 14 people are being housed throughout the entire time, or is that 28 people? Like, what does that look like? So I think it would be a good idea for us to get some updates on a rolling basis and not just necessarily have to wait until the end of the project, if that's possible. I don't know what the contract states with the Continuum of Care.
Yeah, and I think, we probably also could request at board's cadence, I would suggest a monthly update, but, Deputy Treasurer.
So yeah, we are getting regular updates from the Continuum of Care and staff, including the administrator, city staff, and the Continuum of Care and United Way are meeting monthly to go over what in real, relatively real time, what's going on. All of the providers are required to report daily through HRI on their utilization. And so we do know, real time what the reservations are every evening and morning. And then there were several questions that you asked, Commissioner. Was I?
Can they forward it to us as well? How can we tap into it so it's not creating extra work for
We can certainly get, so part of our contract with the Continuum of Care was that they are required to report out at the end of the project, the total performance. But we can certainly send you numbers after our monthly meeting. I think it's on Thursday this week.
Thank you. I think that helps the commission both to be informed as we're being strategic going forward, and also to be able to convey and clarify with community members who are, justifiably concerned and frustrated with the pace of progress. Vice Chair Taylor.
And I'm prepared after tapping this through to make that motion right now. But first, I want to say it's January of 2026. Let's not find ourselves in this situation in January of 2027, how we're trying to find the last minute and trying to spend. I mean, I know we expected Landing Place to be open by now. It is, unfortunately, it is not. But we need to not wait until the winter months cold and trying to figure out how to hurry up and expedite dollars out for the most vulnerable in our community. I think this planning process should be started earlier than that next year. But I guess I don't have a motion in front of me and I'm looking at corporate counsel, so I don't get into any trouble. But I would make a motion to have the chair sign $100,000 agreement through navigation for the extra winter shelter, emergency winter shelter.
Motion is made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Is there further discussion? Commissioner Kistler.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I don't want to see us sell short the gospel mission. You may not like some of the things that you would be required to participate in if you go in there, but they got 60 beds, I understand, and you could put people in there tonight. And Continuum of Care seems like it's, they keep talking about the monthly meetings. Geez, in 2 or 3 more months, that's the end of winter. We're not going to have a problem then. Then it'll be a case of, where do we get cooling centers established? So I don't want to see us dismiss the gospel mission, even if there's some things about the gospel mission option that you don't particularly like. They got beds right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kistler, and that is a fair point. They are available immediately. I guess to that point, I don't know if Gwendolyn, if you have a sense on what timeline would look like to gear up, and if there are any other concerns with the number of people that you can bring into the building, or is that all already good to go?
Just to be clear on the question, are you saying how many people that we would have the capacity for overnight? Are you saying how fast that we could be up and running? Okay, so overnight is basically it's 12 and 12. So it could be 3 families in one home and it could be 4 families in another home, whatever that composition is. The other question is, it's as fast as we can get our hands on bunk beds. That would be the biggest thing because we don't typically have bunk beds in our rooms. We typically have singles. So that would be the thing that would be the thing that would take the longest time, which bunk beds really are not that hard to come by, so.
Yeah, and one last follow-up question as well. The 2 buildings that you're gonna use are currently empty. There are not other folks within them right now, is that correct?
That is correct.
Right, I don't have any further questions. Thank you. One other thing I want to share also for the public, just on the matter, and then we'll move forward to the vote. I think we did endeavor before the beginning of winter with the initial $700,000 that we've allocated out for emergency winter shelter to try to be proactive. But look at that hole that we 293 individuals, and those are the folks that we know about. And that, maybe becomes a little immediately less life-threatening once it gets warm outside, or warmer, but it's still a critical need. So more than likely, whatever we continue to throw at this hole in the community will not be sufficient. And so, we need a longer term systemic solutions, which I know we're working to advance through the keys through Kalamazoo. But I think having our eyes wide and clear about the depth and breadth of this problem and what we have to do to both stabilize housing and raise economic security for all of us in this community is paramount, especially as we move forward. All right. With that, any further comments? All right, clerk, we have a motion from Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Commissioner Wheeler, to award $100,000 to Hope Through Navigation for emergency winter sheltering. Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler,
No.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales, Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strips.
I have to abstain. I have family receiving services from Hope Through Navigation.
You have 6 yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. All right. Thank you to the board for your deliberations and discussions. We got a lot left to problem solve there. Okay. Let's see, that brings us to the end of our non-consent. We'll move to item 15. It's our second opportunity for public comment. Again, it can be made in person or by phone at the number we previously shared. Online, you can press *3 to join the queue. This is the final opportunity to address the board, up to 3 minutes. Please address us in a professional, respectful manner on any topic. Once you're recognized, share your name and where you're from. Welcome.
Thank you. Richard Fuller, Kalamazoo County. I stand here in front of you tonight to talk about, real quick, an American tragedy. 5 years ago today, men and women of law enforcement, our nation's capital, and our Constitution, as well as our democracy, was attacked. For whatever reason, and whatever anybody wants to believe on what side of the spectrum, of the political spectrum you're on, one side or the other, as to what happened that day, one of the things that happened that has lost traction, where nobody's really paying attention or taking care of the situation, is the men and women of law enforcement that stood there that day. And they stood there, they defended not only the Capitol, but people's lives. They were there trying to make sure that whatever went on in that activity, that space, was done in a way that people did not get harmed. That is not what happened though, of course. We know several people were sent to the hospital. 174 police officers were sent to the hospital. We know that there were citizens, people that were involved in the insurrection, people that were bystanders that received some sort of injury or another. And ultimately, these people are often forgotten about when there's a lot of attention put on the people that were charged and ultimately released later on. So I say these things to make sure that we understand that we really have to pay attention to our democracy. We really have to make sure that we're paying attention to the Constitution, as well as making sure that when something happens that is such a tragedy, that we recognize those people, those heroes that stood up that day are in that law enforcement community I'll talk about. And so in 2023, to help address the situation, Congress had come up with a possible resolution. They were going to make an announcement and have a plaque, a simple plaque that recognized the men and women of law enforcement for their work that day. And that plaque can't even get a vote. They can't even move it. That plaque sits in a closet right now. And if anybody sits there and thinks about right or wrong, whatever happened that day, you've got to understand that the law enforcement officials were there. They were trying to do their best to uphold democracy, defend the Capitol, and protect lives. We know several of them have committed suicide since that time. One lost his life immediately within 24 hours from a stroke, directly attributed to the injuries that he had received the day before. We know that there were citizens in that group that lost their lives or that died within days. And it's a tragedy all around. That's why I say it's an American tragedy. So I just say this to everybody here, and I have to point out, I recognize when you guys as a elected body recognize law enforcement and you lift us up. You even made sure that this year is a year that has a priority to public safety, to making sure people are taken care of in the law enforcement community. And I thank you for that. But I say this here tonight to help people understand that that's not happening everywhere. And it should happen at the Capitol. Our Congress should be stepping up, going back to work. Our Congress should make sure that if nothing else, when it comes to this matter, they can make that announcement and say, yes, we're going to put this plaque up. We're going to address these damages. And again, knowing that there's a lot of things on Congress's plate that they need to get moving on and get some things done for. Not to mention the millions of people that are losing their health care starting this week. So again, I ask everybody in the United States to pay attention to these things and to step up, speak to your congresspersons, make sure they understand it's important to you that they do their job. Thank you.
Do you have anyone else wishing to make public comment?
I am up, so.
Welcome.
Hi, just want to extend my appreciation and gratitude for the support. I do definitely appreciate it. I appreciate your trust and Hope Through Navigation, and that we are able to do the job that's set forth before us. Also, we have no problems with providing report however often that you would like. It's no problem. It's just a matter of pushing buttons and quantifying the numbers. So thank you so very much, and I'm sure that the families will thank you as well. Take care.
Thank you. Anyone else? Welcome.
Right. I just wanted to
Mike
press
button.
this one here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Or anyone else? Administrator, do we have anyone online?
Not this evening, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. That'll bring us now to reports of the officers, bodies, and administrator and controller. So I will open my comments again. You know, as I said earlier, thank you so much to my colleagues for your support as I continue forward in service this year as board chair. We accomplished a lot of good things in my time here in county government. This last year has continued to be one we're advancing important work, and I commit to the same diligence forward this year. We have tremendous challenges facing us as a community, as a state, and as a nation, and those will continue to develop as we watch the days go by. It will be really important for us to remain focused and creative and to stay committed to our values as a community, that everyone here deserves safety and dignity, and that this is an institution in which people can trust, that we work forward to be both collaborative and transparent for the community, because there are great forces around us working to erode people's belief in the possible of when we work together. And, you know, we heard from Sheriff Fuller this evening, what can fester when we allow that sort of anger and distrust and division to continue to fester? It is for each of us to work to resolve those things and to commit to the world that we want, to the community that we deserve, and to the future that we're going to create together, no matter what barriers they try to put into our way. We'll have much more work to do on housing, and we'll work to address that. I'm excited for the opportunities to create solutions, and this will be done in collaboration with all of you, our excellent administrative team, our housing department, our community partners, and our constituents. And then lastly, briefly, international news is also of grave concern. We are a small local body of government, but the Constitution is something that we individually swear an oath to within our service, that our state and federal elected officials swear an oath to. And I hope that each of us take the time to understand our history, our context, and what it is we're fighting for a country that we deserve and that we believe in. With that, I'll go to our vice chair.
Thank you very much, Chair. First, I'd like to thank this board for instilling their trust in me for another year of leadership. And I think it's appropriate to have a little bit of reflection to where we were 3 years ago and where we are now. 3 years ago, we were a municipality that didn't always find its way. We had gone through 3 different administrators in under a year. We found Dr. Catlin. Well, he wasn't Dr. Catlin then, he was just Kevin Catlin. But we found Dr. Catlin, and we as a board started working together to achieve really, really great things. We went from maybe a county somewhere in the middle of the 83 counties to now I strongly believe we are one of the best run county governments in the state of Michigan. We've done tremendous things over the last year with our housing department, improving the housing stock, our support for veterans with a veterans village, RX Kids. We started a granting process to local nonprofits and municipalities. We purchased largest investment in private investment in Kalamazoo County by facilitating the purchase of a property for a downtown arena without using taxpayer dollars to fund it, at least county taxpayer dollars to fund it. We've a youth sports complex, the landing place, which will house 80 families, as the chair has said, the tri-share and care share for our employees. 3 years ago, I said we wanted to be a place that when our employees walked out to lunch at Bronson Park, they'd be proud to say, hey, I work at Kalamazoo County. And what have we done in the last years? We've gotten 7%, 4%, cost of living increases that really reflect and value our employees. We've got a lot more to go. We've got long-term financial planning, 5-10-year financial planning that I look forward to working with this board to solve, that we can put the money back into the community, not into unrestricted, unallocated reserves, but back into the community so that we can do the most good. I'm committed to that. I'm committed to working with this board, and we've got some exciting times ahead, and 2026 is going to be a great year for Kalamazoo County. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Let's go to Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chair. I want to put ditto marks on what's been said so far. The Vice Chair brought up a number of things, and I agree that we've done a great deal, and we got a lot to be proud of. We got a lot to do. I struggled with the last one because we had a good presentation for families, and for Mr. Gissel brought up, they've got 60 beds or more beds they can put in right now, which I struggled with that thought. But I love the fact that we're talking about families in this one and beds, just beds in the other. But I think we need to look for maybe solutions that cover both. So I want to work towards that, because we do have a large issue here that needs to be addressed, and I know we're working towards it. Our housing department's been working day and night, and I applaud all the work that they've done to create more housing and things to help that. And we need to keep in mind that we can't overtax our citizens that are there. We're going to put them on the street. We can't overregulate them, but we do need to have both things. We need to have the taxes, we need to have the regulation, but we need to be, I guess we need to balance it. We need to have some good balance in there, maybe so we can get these folks places to stay where they can be safe and kept warm and get educated and lead a good life here in Kalamazoo County. So it was a big struggle on that one, because we had two good options that would have covered a number of things. And I want to applaud the extra eyes on these issues and thank our administration and for all their hard work on getting these things done. Some good news is I just read something the other day that for the first time, and since they've been keeping records, we only lost 97 police officers last year. The first time we've been under 100 since they started keeping records. So that's something to be very proud of. And considering that, I also saw that crime rates have dropped considerably. Murders, rapes, robberies, break-ins across the country have dropped substantially this last year. And I think that's something that we should be looking at and hoping that that trend will continue down that road. Now, the governor, and I agree, and I've been saying it for years, we're concerned about traffic safety. Traffic safety is a huge, huge problem. She has pointed it out. Our law enforcement folks have pointed it out. We need to work diligently to try to get people to understand that they need to drive safely. We're killing a lot of people. We're injuring a lot of people every week. And we need to understand that traffic safety comes under three things: engineering, education, and enforcement. Those three legs of the stool make up traffic safety. And we need to work towards making sure that people understand that driving is a privilege. It's not a right. You need to drive careful, especially in the wintertime. Roads are slippery. We had a boatload of accidents this morning. Several people injured. Knock on wood, so far nobody died, but it's impactful on folks. My wife was recently in a car accident. An Amazon truck hit her head on, caused her to have some surgeries, but she's doing okay. But the bottom line is we need to ask folks to be paying attention. Don't be distracted. Don't be drinking and driving. Drive the speed limit, maybe a little under it. Stop for stop signs. Those are critical things that get people hurt. And our law enforcement folks are out there trying to enforce the rules, but they're overworked now because there's too few of us. So we need to be paying attention. We need to be supporting our law enforcement, our firefighters on the line, medical folks that are out there day in and day out, military folks that are protecting us abroad. So thank them when you see them, and God bless. Have a great week.
Madam Chair,
Yes, counsel.
I would just like to go back to, if we may, the, in regards to the, grant funding to Hope Through Navigation. If the body would consider a motion, because I wasn't sure that it was stated in, the Vice Chair's motion, that, the funding be provided upfront and that the chair is authorized, once approved, to form by Corporation Council.
Thank you, counsel. Should we make a subsidiary motion?
Yeah,
or-
somebody can just say so moved.
Thank you.
Okay, so we give the money, but we're still gonna request our seats, right?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
that's support.
Thank you, Madam.
Motion by Vice Chair Pro Tem.
What he said.
Motion by Vice Chair Pro Tem, support by Vice Chair Taylor. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you,
Madam
counsel,
Chair.
for clarification. All right, now we'll go to a report of the administrator. So welcome, Dr. Evan.
Well, thank you, Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, Commissioners. Congratulations on your reappointments to board leadership. Look forward to obviously continuing the partnership. We have a great working relationship, and so the board can feel certainly assured that business is getting done in a transparent manner and inclusive manner as well. I'd say several, it's multiple updates. I always, anyway, so a lot of things. One, and I've already thanked Vice Chair for attending yesterday, but emergency management hosted a tabletop exercise centered around severe weather response. And so we had a plethora of regional partners that joined that tabletop exercise. And we received very positive feedback from our community partners that attended that. Actually, so much so that some were jealous they weren't invited, and that was not intentional that we didn't invite some folks. So we've updated the listserv to ensure that more folks are included, and we're going to get the entire county board on that listserv too. So that way folks know when we're hosting those tabletop exercises centered around all hazards, whether it's severe weather, whether it's a train wreck, that sort of thing. So really excited about that. We're continuing to draw folks from different portions of the county and regionally as well. In relation to that, we have hosted and are hosting actually a 3-day emergency operations center training focused on emergency management activation of that the Emergency Operations Center. So in collaboration with Michigan State Police's Emergency Management Homeland Security Division. And so that training, as I was in it today all day, has drawn folks all the way as far as Macomb County. So it's about a group of roughly 15 to 20 of us in that training now. So we're being recognized really as a growing role and leader in emergency preparedness. So that's being recognized by the Michigan State Police. So we're excited about that. I wanted to give some recognition and kudos to a good friend of mine, Jim Mallory. I don't know if anyone heard that he has announced his intent to not renew his contract with the Village of Vicksburg after 2026. Very big shoes to fill. That body has been very good to Jim, and Jim has been very good to that body and that community as well. You know, he lives in Vicksburg, and so he cherishes that community. So his last day of service will be on or around December 31st this year. And so he served the Village of Vicksburg for 11 years and had previously dedicated 25 years of service to the city of Kalamazoo through the KDPS, culminating in his career as a captain with the KDPS. So just an awesome guy. He's been an outstanding partner to the county. His council expressed their appreciation of his service and thanked, and in turn, he thanked the council for their outstanding support and collaboration. Like I said, significant shoes to fill for the village. He does a lot of work, and I think folks know that. And so certainly county administration, I'm sure the county based on some of the reactions that I've received here tonight, extends gratitude for his decades of service to Kalamazoo County. I wanted to give some kudos and just highlight some cost savings and operational excellence in our household hazardous waste program. So they continue to demonstrate strong fiscal stewardship and operational diligence through its electronic recycling procurement efforts. So in 2024, there was an RFP that was issued for electronic waste transportation and recycling. And that transitioned from a 1-year contract model to a 3-year contract with 2 optional 1-year extensions. And after receiving one very high costly proposal, staff reissued that RFP, resulting in a competitive response from a vendor called Dynamic Lifecycle Innovations. They're Wisconsin-based but Michigan licensed, and they had strong references from other HHW programs around the state. And the RFP was ultimately awarded to Dynamic, a decision that proved, especially timely as the former vendor subsequently merged with another recycling company anyway. While the greater distance introduced some complexities and logistical challenges, particularly related to truck traffic and scheduling and manual loading, under an outdated facility, the customer service pricing and overall value far exceeded our expectations. So just to give you some insight, in 2024 recycling cost comparison, pounds shipped was 198,000 pounds. Cost with Dynamic Lifecycle Innovations was a measly $2,000. And the estimated cost with the former vendor was $35,000. So that really culminates into a $33,000 savings. And that's just some of the work that our HHW, that's housed under HCS, but all these departments that we have around the county continue to try to find cost savings for the taxpayers. And these are cost savings that would have honestly been passed on to the townships and the other partners that we work with that recycle through HHW. So really give them kudos, and we value their dedication to saving taxpayer money. I wanted to also highlight some additional emergency management equipment investments. So 2 things. One, emergency management has finally finalized pricing and will be placing an order for 125 road closure signs that will be distributed to all of the township fire departments. And that was a lot of work. I know it took a long time. Vice Chair asked about this, I think probably back in August. And it's like herding cats sometimes, working with our partners, but we got all the fire departments together. We finally, finalized the road signs that we needed. So it'll be it's really close to $50,000 for 125 signs. And so delivery is expected within the next 2 to 3 weeks or so. We also have the emergency radios that we place within the operational budget to purchase for townships and cities, and our municipal partners to distribute to residents in the county have been a huge hit. And so we distributed all 502 radios to the townships, and townships are actually placing on their Facebook pages that, hey, we're out of radios, we're asking emergency management for more. So there will likely be a request made to the Board of Commissioners to kind of ramp that up a little bit to ensure that we can get and distribute more weather radios out to the public. And that's really just a redundant measure, right? So there are emergency weather sirens, which is an outdoor measure. We have the wireless emergency alerts that go through cell phones, iPause alerts that can also interrupt cable television, that sort of thing. But then also weather radios is another tool to just ensure that folks are receiving alerts when they are needed in a timely manner. So I wanted to highlight that as a public safety budget priority was identified for public safety. And then lastly, I want to highlight the administration building RFP evaluation. So we received 10 proposals for the administration building RFP for design and architect engineering. And so we hope to convene as internal staff mid-January to wean that down to probably somewhere between 3 to 4 finalists. We'll have to interview those finalists. Then hopefully sometime, this is very tentative depending on scheduling, hopefully bring a proposal back to the board, recommended proposal back to the board sometime mid-February to award a contract to a successful respondent for the design, architect, engineering portion of that building project. And so we're looking forward to that. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Administrator. All right, we'll now go to member time. Commissioner DeLu.
First instead of last. I just want to thank the board leadership for being willing to step up again this year. I appreciate your willingness to lead us into another year of 2026. I appreciate Vice Chair's recap of the last year. It was nice. And I just want to say, I want to thank the sheriff for his words tonight. Those of us in law enforcement, we realize people have certainly tried to change the narrative of what really happened on that day. And I just appreciate you bringing it forward and reminding the public of actually the suffering law enforcement went through on that day, and that they're not forgotten. Thank you.
Commissioner Gissler.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I would like to get a text of your comments, John, but I know your notes aren't capable of being duplicated. You did a nice job of summarizing some of the really good things that happened this year. And I feel very good about the leadership continuing for another year. Kevin's here, you three are here. We're headed for good things this year. I will tell you though, in my own personal way, that road commission is going to talk to my group on Monday at 8:30. That's the 12th, I think. I haven't looked, I should look that up. It's next Monday at Mark's Diner on Romance and Portage. Meeting starts at 8:30 and road commission's got a blank slate, whatever they want to talk about, it's going to be information enough for us. So if anybody wants to make it, 8:30, Mark's Diner in Portage. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mazer. Okay. And Commissioner Wheeler.
Thank you, Chair. Again, thank you, the three of you, for stepping up and being our board leadership and steering us in the right direction. I think we have a really good combo going on. I don't have very many updates other than that. I'm very excited to start serving on the ISK board and undertake that. And hopefully next time we meet, I'll have an update from the TCCAD for the youth sports facility and where we're at in that process. Thanks.
All right, thank you for your work tonight, commissioners. With no more business before us, we are adjourned.